Take Leaders Questions under Standing Order 29. Deputy MacSharry.
Thanks very much, Nicola. Minister, all of the members of all of these houses and the public at large will have been appalled with the revelations of one of the charities most associated with our nation's silent crisis, the loss of life through suicide. We now have 5 investigations underway between the Garda Bureau of Fraud, the Director of Corporate Enforcement, the HSE, the Charities Regulator and indeed the remaining directors of Console itself. And we all look forward to the outcome of those reports so that we can have some peace of mind that that particular charity's good work, which has been going on over many years, can continue and that its reputation can be cleaned up. But there is a very serious issue at large with the many other charities we have throughout this country, some 3,000. There's an issue clearly among some with what's referred to within that sector as founder syndrome, which has often served to undermine the introduction of good governance, of appropriate management controls. But apart from all of that, Minister, is the failure of these houses to commence provisions of the Charities Act of 2009, in particular Section 4. And I think it's incumbent on the government to explain why in the last administration, or indeed this so far, why we have failed as an Oireachtas and you as a government to provide the necessary provisions to commence that part of the Act so that the Charities Regulator can begin to do the work that it was set up for. I mean, why have we got a regulator if it doesn't have the teeth, if it doesn't have the resources to do what we wished? Indeed, as things stand, the regulator can only seek materials from these organisations with the agreement of the organisations themselves. So in effect, despite their good intentions, they can do no work. So what we would like to know is, can you confirm that the government will commence the provisions relevant to resourcing and giving the teeth necessary as envisaged by the Act in 2009 before the summer recess, and that the necessary resources will be done to do that? Over the last number of years, 12 million of public funds have been made available to this charity. Many millions more donated, fundraised by service users, their families, their relatives, their neighbours, the many communities throughout the country who have been hit with the blow of loss of life through suicide. These are people who can't afford to give money. These are people who can't afford to dig deep and fundraise and give valuable resources throughout a recession and a most difficult period in this country, but yet they do. And I think we have a responsibility as an Oireachtas, and you as the government, to ensure that this Act is a little more than just window dressing. We need to see tangible action to introduce the provisions of this Act that gives the teeth so that we can begin to focus on the other 3,000 charities, most of them doing an excellent job, but they're entitled to the peace of mind to know that their hard work, the taxpayers' money and their donations are going to a good cause that's appropriately managed with the appropriate level of governance.
Thank you, Deputy MacSharry. Minister Bruton, Deputy MacSharry.
Minister, I'm afraid that's not acceptable. There's many reasons for failure, but there are no excuses. We can't constantly depend as an Oireachtas and you as a government on the focus and sharpness of Primetime Investigates when it comes to looking after the hard-working staff in Console and the many charities throughout the country, those councillors who we heard on the radio who struggle to get paid on a monthly basis. So I think a precise date is what's required from government to say, look, before the Dáil rises on July 21st, this part of the Act will be fully commenced and we will be focused very heavily on ensuring that it doesn't take Primetime Investigates or an audit within the HSE to bring this stuff up. We need to be doing it on a constant basis with regular checks to ensure that all these materials are being made available to people. So I would ask, Minister, that before we're much older, in a matter of hours, that you would indicate that this will be done before the Dáil rises on July 21st.
Thank you, Deputy MacSharry.